Ooh, that's not supposed to happen. Hold on, give me a quick little second. I don't know why this is here. There we go. Excuse me, I'm feeling a lot better. But welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. The raid train will be on its way to me in about 30-ish minutes. So I wanted to get on early so they had someone to raid into. Other than that, we're going to continue playing Baxter's DLC in Our Life Beginnings and Always. One more quick thing before we do begin, though. This is the DC3 Raid Train Disabled Award Show nominations raid train. We did meet our goal for Easter Seals, but if you would like to continue to support Easter Seals, that would be so very much appreciated. We're $15 from reaching our max goal of 500. We did reach the goal for my stream, my personal stream last time, but if you would like to donate 15 more dollops, I'd appreciate it. I'll do a Bean Boozled and I'll sing you a song because my throat's feeling a lot better. I know I just coughed. I'm a little wheezy, but I am feeling a lot better. I could probably hit some notes. I don't have a limiter yet, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, last time we just reached Baxter, so we're just gonna get right into it. We're gonna choose our feelings for Baxter. We did that last time, but I got tired. I got tired and I rated out, I think. So our feelings for Baxter, we're gonna be relaxed and we're gonna have a crush. We're very fond of Baxter. He's our kind of guy. Actually, let me go get some water. One more thing. I am doing laundry. The laundry sound will stop soon-ish. Definitely before the raiders get here for the raid train. I'm just letting you guys know that right now. I'm doing laundry because I have shit to do. I have shit to do tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. And I need clothes to do that. So give me 1 second, let me get some water. I should have done that before stream started. I'm so sorry. Oh, and look at that. The dryer stopped. I'm gonna check on the clothes just to make sure that the dryer's good with the clothes. But I did just get the water. We got a Brita filter. And I've been drinking Brita filter water. They feel fine. Okay. Excuse me, Jax. They feel fine. So no more dryer noises. Okay. Do I have everything? I've got water. I've got lozenges just in case. The dryer's stopped. I'm good. Okay. Let's get into it for real this time. Ready. Oh, what's this? Which initiative level would you like Baxter to have for step 3? High initiative. High initiative, please. Oh. You were looking forward to seeing more of him. You thought he was charming. You didn't think too much about it. You weren't sure how to feel. You thought he had a pretty bad first impression. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. I am. Baxter was different. Hold on. I need to make sure my mic is on. My mic is on, right? Yes, but the game music wasn't on. Guys, why didn't you tell me you couldn't hear any game music? Ugh. Guess I should have double checked that too, huh? Baxter was different, but you liked him. Smiling, you hoped that he would become a good friend this summer. Turning your attention back to Cove, you pushed all thoughts of Baxter aside. You both started making your way towards town. A little while later, you and Cove reached a main street in town. All of a sudden, you stopped walking. What's wrong? I think I heard my phone. You dug your cell phone out and looked at it with a satisfied grin. There was a new message. Before you could read it, you were distracted by a small wow. Wow. A small amused noise from Cove. His head was slightly tilted to the side as he carefully looked at your old keychain. I can't believe you still have that. Of course I do. I love it. You shouldn't be surprised. Well, someone was crazy enough to get it for me, so I may as well use it. You shrugged. You quietly blushed at him, pointing it out. Of course I do. I love it. It's a shark. I love shark. You meant it. The intensity of your words had Cove blushing and looking away from you. It would be crazy if Cove had a crush on me and I don't have a crush on him, but I have a crush on Baxter, who Cove does not like. Cove does not fuck with Baxter. That'd be crazy. That would be just like Too Hot to Handle, which this Princeton is kind of based off of. This is my storyline, like my canon for Princeton. Princeton was at one point engaged and married, and now he's divorced from Baxter. This is going into Too Hot to Handle too. He's divorced from Baxter, but he's Baxter fucked him up. Like, they were so in love, but something happened. I don't know what happened. Something catastrophic. And he was like, you know what? I'm gonna be a hoe. And that's where we got Princeton for Too Hot to Handle season 2. For a moment, you were both at a loss for more words. You were sucked into remembering that day he brought it for you. Cove was the one who spoke up again. That's my headcanon. I'm actually glad you like it. He looked back at you with a playful grin. Especially since it cost me a whole $6. That's like $30 in kid money. Hey, $6 is like $15 in kid money. Don't inflate it. His matter-of-fact tone had you laughing deep. It took several moments to compose yourself enough to speak. I didn't realize that was the going rate. It was then. Probably be more now. I mean, you're right, inflation. So you're trying to say that you were a big spender? I mean, his dad definitely was. In kid money, yes, I was definitely a high roller, remember? That had you both bursting into fits. No, I don't remember, sorry, we didn't hang out when we were younger. Smiling, you refocused on the task at hand. You opened the new text from Miranda, and all you saw was, I can see you. Immediately from where you stood, you started swiveling your head around. You couldn't spot Miranda anywhere, but she did send you more messages. Look at my little charm. Oh, so cute. Haha, I see you looking. Where are you, haha, Kawan? Really, Randy? Where are you? The message was sent, and you were back to looking around, scanning for any sign of movement and familiar faces, but they were still invisible. Cove looked at you carefully, raising an eyebrow. Miranda, come on out. You would yell, wouldn't you? You sighed at the ridiculousness. You burst into laughter at her antics. You sent your own joking text. I'm between this one and this one. You know what? Princeton, yell. Cove jumped a bit with your sudden outburst. He raised an eyebrow and looked at you carefully. What's happening? Before you could even begin explaining anything to Cove, you both snapped your attention to the yelling from across the street. And there you saw Miranda and Terry coming out from behind the backside wall of a grocery store. They both started waving wildly to draw even more attention to themselves. Song, welcome in. Yeah, you're first. I added like a host of new channel point redeems. So be free to use them. Be free to use them. I don't know what I was trying to say right there, but you are free to use them because they're free, except for they're not. But they're free, but they're not free, you know? You get it. You understand. Cove took a step in their direction. Grinning, he put his hands around his mouth to better project his message across the street. But it's nice that you're first. Appreciate that. Hey! Laughing and arm in arm, the girls stopped only to look both ways and then rushed across the empty street. Hi, I hope you weren't waiting too long. Well, she said it. Hey, buddies. Hi. Hi, that joke was not funny. I'm amazed. How did you appear out of nowhere like that? Hey, I'm so happy to see you two. I thought you knew better than to jaywalk. You got the friends and family discount? Sure. I think, maybe. I'm unsure. Even if it was an open road in a small town, it was still illegal. Princeton's gonna be a lawyer growing up, so this feels right. They took matching tones with an apologetic lilt. Sorry, Princeton. Me too. Sorry. Alright, though you shouldn't do it again. From this moment forward, we'll use the crosswalk, cross our hearts. Tara then closed the distance between her and Cove and crushed him in a painfully tight hug. You're finally here. It's been so long. What took you? He did his best to echo out a reply with his chest being compressed. He said sorry. Why are you apologizing? Eventually she let him go. Terry looked at him with a beaming smile, but Cove was distracted, rubbing his arms. Staying there, Miranda shifted her weight to the other hip. She watched Cove patiently with a bashful smile. Welcome back. Thanks. It finally felt official. Everyone was together in one place. From here, you weren't sure how often you would have another afternoon like this. They didn't either. Cove. Terry poked Cove square in the chest. You're gonna have to get me your schedule by this time yesterday. Not really possible, Terry, but I can say as soon as I know. So far, work hasn't said anything, but I can tell you I'm busy with orca activities. When Cove wasn't at his part-time job, or pursuing his athletic and academic interests, he volunteered for the Ocean Restoration California affiliation, ORCA. The group focused on cleaning up beaches and removing pollution from the ocean. Cove always loved the sea. It didn't surprise you one bit when he started getting involved with them. It was Cove's activity. You joined ORCA too. After learning of it, you were an ORCA member and introduced Cove to it. Am I an ORCA member? You know, I'm gonna say yes because I was trying to impress Naomi. I introduced Cove to it. I was there first. Their big smash event for the year is coming right up, isn't it? Yeah, that's not that much more to do before then, but I'm kind of looking forward to the fundraising push. Hopefully we can pull it off. If anyone can do it, it's you two, and even if it goes really bad, it'll still look good on a college application at least. That's true. Hey, guess what else? We don't have to stand here to say stuff. Let's go. I would like a meal now. Perking up, Cove nodded in agreement. My nose is getting restuffed. No. We think that there might be mold in the house. Because I'm trying to breathe and I can't breathe. But like when I open the windows, when I go outside, it's like, oh, I can breathe again. And I'm not saying that's fresh air, okay? I think it's good that I'm getting fresh air. But at the same time, it's like, this has never happened before. My allergies have never been this bad. Except for when my dad had his dog. Because I have a very severe allergy to animals, even though I have one of my own. But you know, we suffer for love, you know? We suffer for love. Yeah, I'm hungry. Time to head out. The four of you head into town, happily chatting the whole way. The only decision left to make was where exactly to stop and eat. Miranda was the first to offer a suggestion. I don't know about everybody else, but I like some chow mein. I like Chinese food. You know that it's true. Well, I don't remember how the rest of it goes, but I know she was like, did she say I like lo mein or I like chow mein? I don't remember, but that song was a bop. I don't care what anyone else says. I love that song. I used to sing that song all the time because I do like Chinese food. Oh no, I know. I miss his dog, even though his dog was he was my nemesis. We were frenemies, me and that dog. You know what song I'm talking about, so? Chinese is fine with me. Entirely serious, Terry nodded. That'd be amazing right about now. No? I'm not gonna pull it up just in case I get copyrighted again. Yeah, I can always agree there. I love Chinese food. The group's lazy wandering shifted into a purposeful journey just like that, and as Terry predicted, the conversation was able to continue while on the way to food. Yes, whatever the right lyrics are, lol. Oh. I can look it up right now. I'm not gonna look up, like, the actual song. Chinese food song lyrics by Allison Gold. After bawling, I go clubbing, then I'm hugging, then I'm hungry, and I'm walking on the street, and I'm getting grumpy. I see chow by my right. I smell food in the air. It's Chinese food, my favorite, so I'm getting hungry. I love Chinese food, yeah. You know that it's true, yeah. I like fried rice. Yeah. I love noodles. Yeah. I like chow mein. Chow mo mein. Yep, there we go. It was chow mein. Okay, I can get out of that now. I had to make it. I had to read the lyrics. You and Co finished explaining what was coming up with your Orca fundraising efforts. All the talk. I feel like that's where we became friends. Like, me and Co, we had an activity together, and we were like, you know what? Maybe this person isn't as bad as we thought. I feel like that's where we became friends. All the talk of beaches reminded Terry of her own personal goals. She'd been considering getting lifeguard training. Cove and Princeton can keep our ocean clean, and I can keep it safe. Such selflessness was inspiring for the listeners, though Terry butted in before anyone else was too impressed. Don't be proud of me yet, I haven't even signed up. Laughter burst out in the little crowd. Miranda took a turn to chat about her next life. Her next life? Her life next. Oh my gosh, she's not dead. She's not dead. She picked out some 5-week summer courses at a community college and they wouldn't be starting until later in the month. It was exciting though. Good for her. Good for her. I'm proud of you, Miranda. Not content speaking solely not content speaking solely of herself for long. Miranda mentioned good news for someone else. Specifically that her older brother Jude had a new boyfriend. We love to see it. You vaguely knew who Jude was. He was in his mid-20s, you were sure of that. What you knew for certain was he had his own place with a real career and everything. Go off, Jude. Jude existed in a whole other stage of life than you, and hanging out with his much littler sister's friends had never been on his to-do list. I mean, it wouldn't be on any older siblings' to-do list, not unless they were forced to. Now that was an accomplishment worth being taken in by. Terry, who heard it, and Miranda, who said it, were equally dazed. He's been single for a few years now. It kind of seemed like he just wasn't interested in anybody, and that was true, basically. There wasn't anyone here for him. He's dating a friend he's known online for a long time. They've been playing games together since college. College? This is my theory, but he might not have dated anyone else because all he wanted was to hang out more with that good friend. But no one ever say that to him. He never even hinted there might be a thing there until one day they were suddenly dating. But besides that, what's funny is I don't even know his name. Jude didn't talk about him to us until they already known each other forever. And now that Jude had started talking about him all the time, he just calls him Grant. Is his name not Grant? It's not. It's an inside joke about how they talked about school Grant sometime when they were first becoming friends. They thought it was funny how Grant was also a name, and we're all going on, oh, I bet Grant could get a Grant. Then it escalated to joking about a Grant being named after some person named Grant. His friend made Grant his username for everything, and it still is today. Aw, that's cute. You barely had a concept of Miranda's brother, and that one explanation was everything you knew about his boyfriend. But the story gave a real impression of who they were. They seem like a cute little couple. Wow, Godspeed, Jude. Never let Grant go. That's nice. I bet they're really happy. Yeah, I wish the two of them well as well. Do you think we'll ever know his actual name? It's so sweet. Well, I'm glad it's working out with them. I support you, Jude and Grant. You hummed an agreement. Well, I'm glad it's working out with them. Thanks. Trying to follow the incredible story of Grant proved difficult. Miranda trailed off. The current conversation was well and truly over, so Cove took a chance to speak. This has been on my mind the whole time, but there was never a good chance to mention it before. Well, what is it? There's a new person renting a condo in our neighborhood. Really? Oh, sorry, that was wrong, really. Really? From one tale of an unusual character to another, Cove spoke of Baxter Ward as if he was a local legend. Sorry, I had to cough a little bit, and I coughed Cove out. His just got here, but you love my voices. Cove's is your favorite. I'm trying. I can't do many voices, but I'm trying to differentiate everyone. Wait till we get to Baxter. You haven't heard my Baxter voice. My Baxter voice is so irritating. His name is Baxter. He's in college, though. Doesn't look like he's much older than us. Maybe Miranda's age? He's not gonna be what you expect, no matter how much you try to guess. Miranda's older than us? The depiction put Terry on the edge of a non-existent seat, and she was about to fall off it somehow. Seems fitting for him, then? No! I love Baxter. No Baxter slander here. This is Baxter love. This is Baxter's DLC time. A new man in town who's our age, Cove Holden, has been holding out on us as usual. I won't guess. You tell me what he's like. You know nothing of him? He's everything. You'll see him. Don't worry. If you stay, you'll see him. Only what the base game suggests. That's just cause Cove's a hater. He's jealous. He's eccentric. You know, weird guy who's probably rich. Way too forward. He's a charmer. I can't wait to see him again. Intriguing. He added to your initial description with a couple thoughts of his own. More explanation was required to make any sense of it. Baxter is bold. He says whatever he wants and he dresses dramatically. Everything on him is black and white, even his hair. Huh? Cove had been correct. That kind of man had not been considered in the realm of possibilities for Terry or Miranda. Look at Cove's face. Cove is he's a certified, bona fide hater. If Baxter has no haters, Cove is dead. That's what it's like. It's like on site. But I don't care that he has a style or that he's not shy. What I don't get is the way he acts so impressed by strangers who have done nothing. He said he wanted to hang out with us, me and Princeton, this summer and all this other stuff, and that was the very first time we met. I have no idea why he cares or why it's so easy for him to say that to people he knows nothing about. So, you got his number? No. Cove's eyes squinted and his nostrils squished inward from the incredulous scrunch that suggestion had given him. Considering the picture that had been painted, he couldn't understand why Terry would imagine anything like that had happened. Oh, that's a good idea. I wish! Then do it. And you should too, Cove. You don't meet a social butterfly like that every day. The black and white color scheme proves he's a rare specimen. This Baxter is flapping around the town coming to appreciate our two good buds, Cove and Princeton, right? Like flower buds, and he's a butterfly. Enemies to lovers? No. He's my boyfriend, not Cove's. Terry, that pun is such a stretch. Well, he sounds like my kind of guy, and we could always use more friends. I'm not sure about that one. It's as shaky as your bud metaphor. This was escalating. The more fired up Terry got, the more Cove and Miranda wanted to shield themselves from the embers. Know what you mean, Terry? Oh, come on, the more the merrier. I think it'd be nice if we could get along. You shook his head at where this was going. You shook your head at where this was going. The whole conversation had you snickering. I know what you mean, Terry. The group before was evenly split between the sociable and the shy. That line was drawn clearly with this discussion. No longer moving forward, Terry stood there with her hands on her hips. I'm gonna meet Baxter right now. Cole completely stalled, except for his lips, which sputtered a response. What about getting food? I know the way. You can all go ahead. I'll be back before the food hits the table. You'll see. Terry's light chuckles contrast massively with a hefty sigh from Cove. You're actually going to go to a stranger's house and ask for his number? That's the plan? Yeah. Why do you gotta be like this? If I wasn't like this, me and you never would have been friends ourselves, and I probably wouldn't have been friends with Randy either. I don't live in this town. I can't miss an opportunity to connect. Otherwise, that'd mean leaving it up to chance or fate or Cove's ability to have relationships progress on his own. I don't have all year for that. He'll be gone before then. Not to insult you for going slow, Cove. You're good the way you are. Baxter can be a butterfly and you can be a snail. There was affection in Terry's extended metaphor, but Cove still frowned at the almost certainly correct assessment of how his connection with Baxter was going to develop. I mean, that's how our friendship developed, Cove. It was very slow going because you're a little bitch baby. And I mean that with the most love. I don't like snails. How about being a sea turtle then? Terry, you're not helping. I like snails and I like you. You shouldn't talk badly of yourself, Cove. I'm gonna say this one. I'm gonna read the rest though. Excuse me, snails are great. You should look at that Cove. As Cove pouted, he had completely grown up. You shouldn't talk badly about yourself, Cove. Hey! Order me the General Sal's chicken. I'll get his number. Let me come with you, Terry. Inspired by the name of her meal, or perhaps her meal was inspired by the sudden mission, Terry gave a military salute before flipping around. Miranda and Cove simply watched in disbelief. Hold on, I'll go with you. You darted after her. You stood staring with the other two. Bye, Terry. You're making a mistake leaving your order with us. Wait, I can come too. Do I dart after her, or do I say, hold on, I'll go with you? You're gonna dart after her. Princeton! Cove gave a halting yell, but he had no intention of stopping you. He just had more foresight than you in that instance. What are we supposed to order for you, then? Oh. You slow your pace way down and glance over your shoulder. You called out, sesame chicken. Where is the sesame chicken? The spare ribs! Actually, yes. I don't want that. Why would I agree to go to a Chinese restaurant and then say I don't want anything? What kind of loser am I? These are all great options. These are all great options. Actually, I've never had Mugu Gaipan. You know what? We're gonna be messy. Spare ribs. Give me the spares. Okay. He let you go, and you found when you looked ahead that Terry had stopped in her tracks. She waited for you after Kova announced your intention to join. I knew you were a bud. Girl, of course. The trip back wasn't long. You barely left your neighborhood before the announcement of this change of plans, and there was no time to lose. Give me the spare ribs and only the spares. Yes. You couldn't see what I just did, but I feel like you felt it in your soul, in your heart, in your aura. Together, you sped down the sidewalk around the bend, and only a few minutes you in only a few minutes you returned to the ever-familiar sloped street. Terry's feet took her halfway down the road, smack dab between your house and Cove's. It was a force of habit. Which is his? She asked the question so naturally you almost missed realizing that she wouldn't have known where to go even if you hadn't decided to come after her. Almost. But you had come because you didn't want her to go alone, but you want... Interesting. Sorry, at the stop. I'm just hearing, like, feedback in my headphones. Weird. But you want to see Baxter worked out for both of you. But this was... I did not dab. Now you saying, oh my god, I felt you dab, and you did. Our connection. No, I did not dab. This is more fun than waiting around. You let it slide. Wow, you didn't know why you done that. Terry got lucky. It worked out for both of us because I wanted to see Baxter. You pointed a finger towards one of the rectangular houses back up higher on the hill that she'd passed right by. That's it. Ooh, glad you're here. Let's go. She hoofed it in reverse upwards to what had been the Forbidden Fortress. Though the former danger that haunted those halls had been released, and instead it was claimed by a proper gentleman. Terry fearlessly rang the doorbell. She never understood the true terror of the Donnells, but one might think there'd be some hesitation in the action. After all, she was still approaching a home of someone so unfamiliar to her she hadn't known which house it was. But they wouldn't have thought wrong. Terry remained fully confident in the decision. You stood at her side with hardly more justification to be doing this. This is Baxter. The door opened and there was a man you'd met 30 minutes ago. Baxter had said goodbye for today when he'd left then. What an overestimation of how long it'd be before you once again show him your face. Oh? He must have believed what he said because seeing you raised his brow and put a questioning edge in his exclamation. Why were you back? After the initial recognition, though, his features all smoothed out into his default expression. Lidded eyes and a curved smile. I love what he looks like as an adult. I think his hair changes, if I'm recalling. I'm not recalling, but I think it does. Princeton, it's a pleasure to see you. And you? Baxter's head angled squarely at Terry. It was a playful tilt. You weren't there before. Still keeping his face turned to Terry, his deep brown eyes shifted towards you. I would not say those eyes are deep brown, but go off. Princeton must be popular to have such a rotating collection of company. I expected as much. Baxter blinked, and it was as if he'd never taken focus from Terry for even a second. You're stealing his shirt just so you know. See, I told you didn't even see Baxter. Cove was just being a mega hater. His attention was on her so fixedly. He held out a hand decorated with sleek black rings to her, and then gave a cordial introduction. Yeah, ain't no way his eyes being deep brown. They're like a orangey brown, not like even hazel. I'm Baxter Ward. How nice to meet you. The offered hand received a sprightly slap, a side five, in place of a shake. Amber? Yeah, Amber. I'm Terry, a friend of your neighbor's. His interest was piqued. Baxter far less subtly looked between the individuals making a house call, trying to gauge the motivation for it. With no hint to go off of, he settled for asking directly. I see. And what can I do for you, my neighbor and friend of my neighbor's? Terry was gonna come either way, but I thought I'd check in. Is the condo nice? It's lovely. His voice was distinctly sweet and soft. The tone might have been born from a simple appreciation of the condo. Or it might have been because you cared to ask, and the quality of lodging was irrelevant to how happy he was to answer. Princeton here and Cove not here. Talked about you moving in for the summer. It sounded cool to me. I decided to see you and your black and white hair myself. The reason people were unexpectedly at his doorstep had been revealed. Baxter's response to such an intrusion was pleased. He instinctively brushed a few strands of, oh my gosh, of dyed hair, smiling all the while. Welcome in, Raiders! Welcome in. Thank you for the raid. DBR Rivera. Hi, how was stream? Welcome in, Raiders. I am Princess Beauregard. I go by they, them pronouns. We are currently playing... I was about to say we're playing Too Hot to Handle. No, we're not playing Too Hot to Handle. We're playing that some other time. It went swell. I'm glad it went swell. Hi again, Lena. How am I feeling? I'm feeling a lot better. But we're playing Our Life Beginnings in Always. We're doing Baxter's story, his DLC. I play story-driven games. I play dating sims. I play a lot of other games. We're playing Pokemon, but we're not playing Pokemon this month. We're gonna play Pokemon next month. Anyway, welcome in. I hope the stream went well. You said it went swell. So I'm assuming it also went well. Because, well. Anyway, let me stop rambling. Good to hear I'm doing good. Thank you. If you don't know, we're doing this raid train for the DC3's Disabled Content Creators Award Show nominations. I have the form up in the pinned comment. If you see it, click on the link and it'll give you more information about the form. And then you can click on the little button that says nomination form and fill it in. If you would like to nominate me, which you don't have to do, you can nominate any disabled content creator. I looked at your thing and it said Fumelina, or DB Rivera. You could nominate them, or you can nominate any other content creator, disabled content creator for those slots. If you would like to nominate me, I would love to be nominated for the Me, Myself, and I award. That's like the very last award, because I do be taking healthcare breaks. But yeah, thank you again for the raid. Please take care of yourself. If you need to raid and run, I completely understand. Thank you all for being here for this raid. It is highly appreciated. I don't know if we were fundraising, but technically I'm fundraising. We met our fundraising goal last stream. But we are, the whole, team, we're $15 away from reaching our whole goal. So that's crazy. If you would like to donate $15, I said I'll do a Bean Boozled and I'll sing you a song because I'm feeling a lot better. We're absolutely smashing the fundraiser. Seems like, yeah, we're $15 away from the team goal. I'll sing you a song. I'm gonna pick the song, though. I'm feeling a lot better, so I feel like I can hit those notes. Also, I tried to look into limiters, but I don't know diddly squaddle about limiters. So it's not going to sound super, super amazing. But yeah, thank you again. I'm still am a little sick, but I'm doing a lot better. So yeah, right now we're meeting Baxter with Terry. I do voices, but I'm not very good. But you know, we're just here for a good time. I'm not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. He instinctively brushed a few strands of dyed hair, smiling all the while. Well, thank you. Uh-huh, you sound cool, and you are. Let's swap numbers. Really? This town truly is neighborly. I'm not from this place. Terry's reason for seeing him was far more tenuous than Baxter assumed. She didn't live in the neighborhood, or the one next past, or anywhere in Sunsetburg. She laughed heartily over it. Baxter snickered much more wryly. Neither of them had a care in the world. Then it's this social circle from wherever they come from that's so friendly. Even better. Does that mean I can have your number? That would be excellent. Good, good. Terry pulled out her cracked cell, not her phone being cracked. Baxter did the same thing at the same time. His phone case was black and white. No surprise there. We can look into it together sometime. You hope you were able to relax after your last slot. So happy you're feeling better now. Thank you. We could look into it together sometime. I will definitely shoot you a message later. But I don't know. I've been stressed. So I don't know. I'm trying my best to calm down. I had an appointment with my psychiatrist yesterday, and we talked about changing my medication. So hopefully tomorrow my medication will be in because I didn't have it at the pharmacy, and I can get it and I can start taking it, and maybe hopefully I'll feel differently. Anyway, they hovered closer to each other, bent over the screens and tapping away. After a mistype or two, numbers were exchanged. Thank you. Welcome. You can have mine too. Would it be alright if I had your number? No. I want your number. What if? She actually got your new neighbor's number. Terry shouldn't be underestimated. You were glad Terry took his number. It might be useful and you didn't have to do it. You can have mine too, babes. Manifesting a high spoon, low stress week for you, my liege. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so busy the rest of this week though, so I don't know about low stress, but thank you for the high spoons. And I can add you to my contacts. His head remained bowed, but his gaze lifted towards you. Ooh, romance? His cheeks went up as well in a sparkling smile. Ooh, of course, I'd love that. Baxter waited for you to get your own phone out and repeated his number. You got it down, then gave yours in return. The contact name on his list was Princeton across the street with an exclamation point. Oh my god, he put an exclamation point. We're in there. Oh. I don't know if you heard the voice, but the voice actor for Baxter is amazing. We love him. But his voice is like it does something to my like back. Like, you know how when you pet a cat and like their bottom, like when you pet him and like their like bottom goes up, that's how my like back feels whenever I hear his voice. In a non weird way. I don't know how to make that sound not weird. He slid his phone into his back pocket. And I must admit, I was not expecting this vacation to go as well as it has. Sir, this is your first day. Even with a generous estimation of my sociability, I imagine I'd need a week or more to find someone to exchange numbers with. Instead, I have 2 new friends the very instant I arrived. Oh, Baxter, this isn't even all. Since you've seen me, Princeton and Cove, it's only a matter of time before you meet Miranda, too. And there's still Liz, obviously. Maybe even Lee will make an appearance. The news of yet more strangers being invited into Baxter's vacation had no visible impact on him. He replied, contented and calm. I look forward to all of that. As you should. Now we need to make haste. There are other matters we must attend. Lunch awaits. That was one way to put it. Baxter's formal tone seemed to be rubbing off on Terry. Can we invite him to lunch? And then I won't keep you. Not and then. Then I won't keep you. I hope to see you again soon, though. Please, feel free to text or call anytime. Have a good day. Same. Bye, Baxter. Enjoy your day too. Yeah, see you later. Take care. You nodded at him. You waited quietly to go. Enjoy your day too, babes. Come on, Princeton. Like 2 shots, you went up. You went off up the road. Christ. Baxter didn't move an inch from the entryway as you left. Ooh, he's into me. He's into me. Neither you nor Terry spoke in the race to the restaurant. The clock was ticking. Every second longer you took could be another drop in degrees from the warmth of your meal. You stopped to catch your breath only when you were under the shaded awning of the Chinese restaurant. Terry wiped her fully exposed forehead with her palm. No, she's hot. Making friends works up an appetite. Yep, good thing we're about to eat. You entered the building together leisurely, pretending to be normal people who arrived for lunch in a totally reasonable way. Cherry explained to the hostess up front that a table should already be prepared for her and you with two others. Woo! One who's short and in shorts, cute, freckled, big purple eyes, a lacy top. She's shy and probably didn't say much, but the hostess politely stopped Terry's babbling with the raise of her hand before she began to describe Cove. That was plenty to get the idea across. You were directed towards the center of the dining room. Miranda and Cove were there, speaking quietly. In front of them was nothing more than 4 cups of water and a plate of 3 spring rolls. The dish was supposed to have 4. As sure as Baxter loved black and white, you knew it was Cove who ate the one that was missing. He can have my spring roll too. I don't like spring rolls. Even if food technically ended up in Cove's stomach before the two of you returned, an appetizer had to be cheating. Terry meant the main course, and it was not there. You could still take it as a win. She certainly did. Hey, we made it. Terry, Princeton, hi. Creases lingering on Cove's face showed he'd been worrying about the results of the unexpected pit stop until the moment you both appeared. But since you strode up victoriously, he was reassured enough to already joke about it. Now you sipping tea. He's so mysterious. Hold on, what'd you say? So sorry, Princess. I missed literally the whole conversation. Your monochrome boyfriend remains an enigma to me. That's so crazy that you missed the whole conversation. Oh well, he'll show back up. Don't worry. You barely made it, you know. We arrived a while ago and this appetizer's already here. Close, but making it is making it. Did my good friends get what I requested? The sudden primness of Terry's speech was lost on Miranda. She didn't understand that a bit of Baxter had been brought to the restaurant with the two of you. Yeah, I got it. General Tso's chicken for you and spare ribs for Princeton. Ah, yes, thank you. One of the empty seats was finally filled as Terry plopped down, satisfied after a job well done. You took the last remaining chair. So, did you actually see him and get his number? We did. Cove glanced your way, his wavy brows raised in surprise. We was clearly the word that was on his mind. Are you jealous? Are you jealous, Cove? You continued with comfortable ease. I got his number too. Wow. The group had settled into its usual rhythm when your proper meals arrived a few minutes later. You ate and talked, and not once did the topic return to that element of the unknown, Baxter Ward. But he remained stuck in the corner of your mind. Yeah, he did, because that's going to be my man's. After many seasons in the sleepy town, you had expectations of what the summer of 2016 would look like. It had been all too easy to imagine. Since you graduated high school, your life wasn't going to be the same anymore, but it was too soon for that to warp the existence you had for over a decade. At least you thought so. And yet there was Baxter. He was something you not counted in a single one of your vacation plans. You couldn't have until barely an hour ago. Now his number was on your phone. A new world, one you had no grasp on, was already poking its way into your old routine, and had come in the form of a black and white ballroom dancer. You were lucky. The final days of familiar comfort had come, but the first sight beyond that was a charming young man asking you to spend time together. The rest of the afternoon and evening passed by in a blink of an eye. When night fell, it was time to head home, and you parted ways with Miranda and Terry. You and Cove reached your neighborhood without event. It was late enough that your out-of-the-way street was dark and silent. You were walking tiredly after such a long day. You strolled with a skip in your step. You ambled along. Cove was giving you a piggyback ride home. Yes, make him carry me. It was a long day out and about. You appreciate that you could rely on him to make things more comfortable for you, which is crazy because I said that Princeton was tall. So imagine a tall man riding on the back of another tall man. You gotta be some kind of like trapeze act in the making. You tightened your grip on Cove and turned your head ever so slightly, peering at his face out of the corner of your eyes. You wondered why he felt so distant to you. It was out of character. He's jealous, that's why. He's jealous that he'll never be Baxter. He will never be my boyfriend. For a while, Cole silently stared ahead and left you alone with your own thoughts. It surprised you when you did hear his voice all of a sudden. He still wouldn't look at you. It feels weird coming back to the neighborhood and trying to get into things like they're the same, and they're not. They've changed. They're still changing. Your mouth felt uncomfortably dry all of a sudden. It sure does. Let me drink some water. From the Brita filter. Not sponsored. It was true, the things that kept the people you knew together were starting to disappear. Each person had to make their own priorities and their own path now that it wasn't set for them. You thought about your own immediate future. You were still settled not for yourself. You wanted. We're going to school full time. To work full time. To focus on that. To focus on time that's not school or work, and that was the basics. That's the basics. We gotta go to lawyer school. You gotta become a lawyer. For your career, you thought you'd find a company to work at, work online, do contract work, start your own business. We're gonna find a company to work at, and do contract work, and start our own business, and work online, and that was all in that order. For your education, you thought you'd attend a community college, attend a public university. We're going to a private college because we can afford it. And that was all. And for that, you wanted to stay local, go to a different part of the state, go out of state, go abroad, travel to different places. Let's travel to different places. It'd all be happening so soon. Let's get our law degree in a country that we don't live in. You already applied to schools and jobs. You already applied to schools. You already applied to jobs. You already made plans for a trip. You already applied to schools and jobs. And you'd been open about your situation, everyone knew, and you'd only spoken about this with family. Everybody knows. Everybody knows what my goals are. Now you wondered what Cove had in mind. You heard him consider some things for his future, but it was never anything that would have counted as a real plan. Cove stopped in the middle of the street. He sighed and put you down. You were both outside of your houses. Cove looked at the ground for a moment. His mouth trembled, trying to settle on the right words to find. Right words to say. Where am I getting these extra words from? So, you're planning on working and stuff while traveling? Yeah, you remember. Cole closed his eyes and nodded while he composed his thoughts. He looked at you when he lifted his head. I decided on something. Well, kind of. He smiled slightly and rubbed his arm, and then his expression grew more serious. I'm not going to decide on a school or career, not this summer. I'm going to stay here, at least in Sunsetburg. I'll probably move out of my dad's place. I'll keep working my job, keep doing my volunteer stuff, and everything else. Maybe I'll know what I want to do for myself by fall or next year, or maybe I'll never have a plan. Life will continue on with whatever's happening. Whatever's happening. There we go. I'm not going to crush myself trying to have everything figured out by a timeline that someone else has set. I just can't do it. His brow furrowed and his tone was tense. It was clear how much expectations were weighing on him. I know that's not very exciting, but it's the best I can do right now. He laughed self-derisively. But with the way his face looked, you thought he actually wanted to cry. Aw, don't cry. I'm gonna look at him deeply. Your plan sounds very you. I'll miss you. I want you to come with me. No, we don't. Okay, and you couldn't say anything. I'll miss you. It took a lot of strength to keep your voice even. You wanted to support him, but you could already feel your chest tightening, imagining what it would be like without him right there. I decided to be nice this time. Just this time. His face crumbled and your original assumption was proven correct as tears easily began to fall from his eyes. His chest heaved and his words were whispered. I'm sorry. No matter what's happening, I want you to know that you won't ever lose me. I won't really be gone. I'll still be there for you the best I can, whether it's long distance or whatever else. Cove's whole expression softened. His lips pulled into an affectionate smile. Princeton, You deserve to have everything you want in life. I know this. Thank you. It's like that meme from Parks and Rec. I've never done anything wrong ever in my life. I know this and I love you. That's my relationship with my dad in real life too. You laughed at his bold declaration. Thank you, Cove. I want you to get everything you want in life. You don't know how to respond to that. You teared up. You're wonderful. Let's tear up. Cove's declaration had your eyes welling with tears. No matter how many times you wiped your eyes with the back of your hand, your face was wet. Cove looked at you concerned. He took a step closer. Not us hugging, not us having this deep, sincere moment in the middle of the fucking street. Like, can't we do this somewhere else? There are neighbors probably watching. Baxter's probably seeing this right now, actually. Hold on. I'm just doing stuff. And he placed a hand on your shoulder. The warmth from his proximity, it helped relax you. He spoke to you softly, wholeheartedly. He meant every word. Things are hard right now. It scares me, but it'll be okay. It'll be more than okay. Now that things are up to us, we can make our lives better than they ever were. You believed him. You appreciate his attempt to put on a brave face. You know what? I'm gonna say this one. You could tell how hard Cove was trying to keep himself together for you. You hoped that he was right and things would be okay for both of you. Finally, your eyes stopped overflowing with tears and you could meet Cove's gaze clearly. You nodded. At his expression, oh my gosh. At that, his expression morphed into a look of careful confidence. Clearly, he was still struggling with this topic, and you wondered what else might be on his mind. This was a start, I think, but it's not over, is it? We'll have to keep talking about it going forward. Will we, though? Yeah. Yeah. Cove softly reiterated his promise. It'll all be okay. We'll still always be there for each other. Is that good with you? It is. Cool. That's cool. I'll see you tomorrow, Princeton. Is he blushing? I'm already looking forward to it. Night. He pulled you into an unexpected hug. It knocked the breath out of you, yet couldn't have been a more reassuring feeling. You returned his embrace and stayed that way for as long as you could. Night. He finally let go, giving you another smile. Then you started walking away, but you remained there, frozen in the middle of the street. You watched him and wondered, how many more times will he be able to say that he'll see you tomorrow? You hoped for countless more times. Finally, you turned towards your own house. You vowed to yourself that you would make the most out of every moment you had this summer. Alright. Okay. I don't care to do these. We're gonna do boating and then we're gonna move on to Baxter's DLC. I'm gonna read this first and then a 3-minute ad is gonna play. Thank you for purchasing Baxter's DLC. You can play 5 new moments centered around Baxter. It also has special epilogue step 4. To unlock it, you'll need to fulfill these conditions. Play through all 5 of Baxter's step 3 moments. To do so, you must choose to be fond or crushed with Baxter in step 3. Choosing a different will lock Baxter's step 3 moments in epilogue. You must also include Baxter during the hang moment in step 3, which can be accessed from both Cove's step 3 moments and Baxter's. Then you will have the option to play Baxter's epilogue during step 4. You can only have one epilogue per playthrough. You can make a save on the epilogue selection page to reload there and pick another later. Baxter's DLC can be friendship or romance story. Alright. Okay. So when we come back from the ad, we're gonna do boating, and then we're gonna do all of these. We might not even get to all of these, but we're gonna do boating, and then we'll start on Baxter's DLC. I'm gonna play the ad, and we'll be right back. welcome back from the ad, everyone. Let's get started. I went to go let my dog out, and you know what he did? He went outside, and then he just stood there and stared at me. Like, oh, am I supposed to be doing something? Like, yes, sir. Please use the bathroom. Did he use the bathroom? No. It's drizzling currently. Also, I want to let you guys know, I do have lurker bait, and if you don't know what lurker bait is, it's basically you can fish. Hold on. No, it took off lurker. That's crazy. It took off my thingies. Hold on. So you don't have to like sit here, be soothed by my calming voice. You can get hyped and do some fishing. I can't believe it took off my things. There we go. Yeah, look at you guys fish. Look at you guys fish. I love it when you guys fish. You got some junk? Who was Henry? Who was Henry and why is his shoe? You know what? It's okay. It is what it is. You perched at the kitchen counter while whiling away the minutes until your sister joined you downstairs. There was quite an adventure planned today. Lee was coming down near the Sunset Bird area as part of what she called a little trip. Apparently, she thought how nice it would be to go on a private boat trip this summer to celebrate graduation and everything. We might have been an idle dream for most people turned into reality in Lee's hands. You've been invited along for the ride by your best cousin. My best cousin? Do I have more cousins? It was kind of insane she could make that happen. It was kind of insane that she could make that happen. You were eagerly anticipating the adventure. It's great to see her. The idea of being on a ship worried you. No, I love a ship. I love me a good ship. You were pretty mellow about it. It's insane that she can make that happen. You knew renting a boat was possible. Of course, you did live by the beach after all, and these things got advertised. But you also knew that it was expensive. It is expensive. For Lee, the cost was no object. She wanted to share the experience. What do her parents do? This is a real question. What do our parents do? Because how do we afford this? In California? Like, this condo must be worth like $500,000 at the very least. You weren't the only ones who was heading out on the trip. Liz was coming, of course. Your moms had been invited, but hadn't been able to find the time to squeeze it in. Exactly. And so the trip, what'd you get? An old PC. Oh no. Oh no. But like, it's worth a nice chunk of change. And so the trip would only involve the kids of the family, a term that had stuck despite all three of you being adults now. You're unstoppable. I mean, obviously at this rate you are. You got an old PC. Mom would have joked about cramping your style, but there was apparently plenty of room on the ship. Lee had been more than happy for you and Liz to bring other friends along, if you wanted. But the trip out to Sunset Bird, then even further out to where Lee and the boat would be, just wasn't feasible for most people. Not many folks lived close by. There was naturally one person around who had always been there for the ride, Cove. You were just about to meet up with him outside. Lee had been glad when you told her he'd be able to come along today. Just as you were thinking about your cousin and her plans for the day ahead, your phone sprang to life. Glancing at the display, you saw the incoming call was from Lee herself. You answered it without pause. A parrotfish, ooh la la. Hey. She dove straight into the topic. The trip meetup, you could hear all the trill of excitement in her voice. Come on in, everyone. The water's fine for fishing. It is fine for fishing. I'm here now and everything's all set. All you gotta do is show up and we'll be off. Woo! She spoke quickly, animated by anticipation. Hooray! You echoed her enthusiasm. That was a fake-ass hooray. Thanks for the lurk song. Great! Can't wait to see you. Liz and Cove are definitely still on board too, right? Yep. Wonderful. There's still a bit of time before you're due to set off. Is there anyone you want to extend a last-minute invite to? No need to keep the guest list sparse now. It's not like we'll be bumping into anyone else to join in when we're out in the middle of the ocean. Well, there's this guy. In the neighborhood I like. Invite him! Princeton, you've gotta see if he wants to come. I need to see who your new friend is. Sure, I'll see if he can squeeze a sudden boat trip into his busy schedule. I'll let you go. I have to if I want to see you here in the flesh. In the flesh. Words are hard. She uttered the last words dramatically, making them sound more like a threat than a statement. Laughing, you shook your head. Lee chuckled down the phone. Bye, Lee. Bye! Now that your attention was free, you looked over to the stairs to see if Liz had emerged yet. But there was still no sign of her. You figured you might as well go out and see if Cove was ready in the meantime. Besides, you had to stop by Baxter's place to invite him along. Liz would catch up, you were sure. You called up the stairs to let her know the plan. You sent her a text on the updated plan. You left her to it. She'd figure it out. I'll send her a text. You grabbed her phone one more time to let her know where you'd gone. With that, you hopped off the chair and headed out the door. A sunny day greeted you, shielding your eyes with a hand. You admired the sky. It looked like good weather for heading out on the water. That was something. You heard your name called and turned automatically. Cove was the source of the call. He was standing halfway between his house and yours. So he's in the middle of the street. Like I said, they love being in the middle of the street for some reason. They can't do stuff on the sidewalk. He waved at you as he walked over. I have a problem with that. Like, people who do stuff in the middle of the street, like, please, the sidewalk is for pedestrians. Please be a pedestrian on the street. You are not a car. Move. You waited for him to join you. You took a step in his direction. You ran over to him. You ran over and threw your arms around him. I'm gonna wait for him. He can come to me. I'm busy. I have plans to do. The warm rays still felt good on your skin. You wanted to bask in it, uninterrupted, a little longer. Cove reached you after a few moments. Hi. Well, look who it is. Ready to go? Cove nodded easily, blinking languidly in the sunlight. Cove glanced away, chewing his lip with consternation. Is it really okay for me to come? Of course it's okay for you to come. You snorted with laughter, recalling Lee's openness to any and all friends and acquaintances, but the troubled look on Cove's face ended your mirth. Of course it is. You're always invited, remember? Cove rubbed the back of his neck, frowning as if trying to work it out for himself. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. This is a really ritzy trip, and Lee's your cousin, not mine. I mean, the two of us, me and Lee, are friends, maybe, but it's not like we've ever hung out on our own. I'm kind of worried I'm gonna be out of place. Liz will be there. You know Liz. You'll be fine. She wants you there, I promise. Okay, you're right. Cove managed a small smile. The worry hadn't lifted from his rigid shoulders, but you could tell that he was attempting to project a little more confidence. I'm gonna go. Don't worry. Good. You were satisfied with that. Ah, and I meant to tell you, I'm gonna be inviting Baxter too. I've got to check if he's in now before we run out of time. Huh? Really? Why is he such a hater about this? Cove was stunned. He hadn't been prepared for any extra surprises. He shook it off. However, alright, it's not like this isn't already gonna be awkward for me. He was joking. Mostly. I'll wait for you here. Okay, Cove, I'll see you in a bit, you weirdo. You strolled over to the condo Baxter was staying in and rang the doorbell. Hitting the button had you recall that time Liz, dared you once before to ring this very bell and ding-dong ditch the mean old people residing here. She probably hadn't expected you to accept the dare. Your chest puffed out with nostalgic pride, remembering the thrill of adrenaline and how it had fueled your little legs faster than you thought they could go. Before old memories could claim you, the door slid open. Baxter looked out, his head tilted in interest. Princeton, what a nice surprise. He folded his arms over his chest, leaning casually against the doorframe. Is there something I can do for you? Yeah, everything. Want to head out into a boat ride with my family in Cove? Taking a boat trip right now? Are you on board? So the thing is, we're going sort of a trip now. You can come if you want to. No. Would you want to head on a boat ride with me and my family? And Cove. And Cove. Don't forget and Cove. His eyes widened only briefly before resting back to his usual languorous expression. It was either an impressive show of restraint or Baxter's life involved more impromptu boat trips than yours. Perhaps both. I'd love to. What? You didn't have plans already? No, seriously, that's great. To your surprise, Baxter's mouth curled into a little smirk. My schedule is always open for an improved itinerary. I'm flexible, remember? I bet you are. Oh. He was not only agreeing to come on the trip, but apparently canceling some other plan in order to make it happen. Baxter was certainly something. He's into me, guys. He wants this. Thanks. Sorry, hold on. Thanks for keeping me in mind. I think this is going to be fun. He slipped outside. After securing the door behind him, he swept out an arm and indicated for you to lead the way. The first stop was to collect Cove. He was waiting, as promised, where you'd left him. Cove, good to see you. Hi. There was still no sign of Liz. You took the opportunity to bring Baxter up to date on the plan for the day. He took in your words with interest. Only a minute or two more passed before the door to your house finally opened, Liz framed within it like a portrait. Unlike you, she had no need to shield her eyes with a hand in order to protect them from the sun's bright rays, as her hat was performing the job admirably. Spotting you, she headed straight over. She smiled warmly at you and Cove as she approached. Her attention then promptly turned to the group's new addition. It's nice to see you again, Baxter. His eyes closed as he bowed his head in a nod ever so slightly. I'm sorry. When the fuck did you two meet? And the same to you. Living on the same street had given Liz and Baxter an opportunity to get to know each other over the course of the summer. How far into the summer are we? Because I'm pretty sure this is like the next day, isn't it? Though she spent less time with him than you had, you anticipated that she wouldn't object to him tagging along on the trip. I asked him to join us today. Just as you expected, Liz didn't have much of a reaction to the change of plans. She merely raised her brow. Oh? I feel like you and Lee would become fast friends, Baxter. Baxter smiled politely. With that, your little group piled into the car. It had been decided in advance that you'd all be heading over in Cove's car. He's got a car. Do I have a car? Then you set off on the journey down the coast to where you'd be meeting Lee. You wound down the California shoreline with sparkling ocean waters on one side and craggy cliffs on the other. The world blurred by until eventually you made it safely to the large harbor. Liz took charge from there, calling up your cousin to guide you the rest of the way. Lee did her best to explain where precisely the boat was docked. Given that she was doing it without seeing where you were, and that it was an area she was only slightly familiar with herself, she did a pretty good job. It took a bit of fumbling, a little retracing of steps, as your cousin and your sister had different definitions of orange. That was rusty brown, Liz had protested. But before too long, you heard her voice calling you, not from the phone in Liz's hand, but over the wind rolling off the ocean. Searching for the source of the sound, you found her on the prow of a ship, jumping into the air and waving frantically for your attention. You'd arrived. Girl, be careful. Don't fall off the boat, girl. Lee dashed from the bow over to the gangway where you boarded one by one. Hi, everyone! I'm so glad you got here okay. You could tell, even if she said nothing, her bright grin as she saw you all spoke loud and clear. Ahoy, Captain Lee! You smiled at her, you waved, you gave your hug, you gave your cousin a high five, you squeezed her in a side hug, give her a full-on hug. Full-on hug for our cousin. You wrapped both arms around her and pulled her tight against your chest. Squealing, Lee returned the hug just as tightly. After greeting you, Lee turned to look over the faces of the others who'd been joining you on your ocean voyage. Her attention was immediately pulled to the only one in the group that she'd not met before. Grinning, she approached him. I'm Lee. I'm so excited to meet the mysterious new man on the block. What a coincidence. I was looking forward to meeting our gracious host for the day. But I must confess, I'm not that mysterious. I'm rather open. I do hope that doesn't come as a disappointment. Not at all. I can appreciate forwardness. Welcome aboard. With that, she glanced over at the others. Lee, thanks again for taking us on this lovely trip. Cove hovered awkwardly behind you and your sister. Even with Liz aboard, Liz's son had... OMG. I need to slow down. I need to pause. I need to read my peepers. Okay. Even with Liz's broad sun hat, he was too tall and the group too small to hide effectively. He made fleeting eye contact with Lee, then looked away. Hi, thank you for letting me come. The boat is cool. He chuckled nervously. Lee smiled, entertained by his bumbling phrasing. Hi, Cove! She giggled as she spoke, unable to hide her amusement. Cove lowered his head. You patted his arm reassuringly. You stood in front of him like a shield. You couldn't help but smirk at his reaction. You rubbed the bridge of your nose. You folded your arms. I get it. In real life, I'm so shy and awkward. I get it. I'll shield him. We're all gonna have a good day. You don't have to laugh at him. Cove's little game of hide and seek is pretty funny. You didn't say anything. We're all gonna have a good day. Cove smiled weakly at you, his face flushed. You could tell that he appreciated your show of support, but was still embarrassed about needing the help. The floor seemed to give beneath you. As Lee whooped with delight, you realized that the ship had pulled out into the water. Who's driving the ship? It had been so steady while it was moored that you temporarily forgotten you weren't on solid ground. Now as the boat rocked beneath your feet, there was no doubt you were truly setting sail. Have you guys ever been on a boat? I went on a cruise when I was 10. I was on the Royal Caribbean. It was for my birthday, back when I was middle class. Back when I was middle class and my parents could afford to do things. Now that I'm an adult and I'm po, no OR. I'm po. I can't afford the OR. But now, like, I can't. I did go on a boat cruise on the river. And that was nice. With my cousin. She's passed. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Star. That's what I called her. That was fun. I like boats. I would love to go on a boat ride again. I think I would prefer that to, like, flying. Because I have a fear of heights. I hate airplanes. But I've been traveling my whole life. Because my mom used to work at the airport. So I used to get free travel. But now I don't get free travel anymore. Because I'm an adult. It's okay, though. But still, boats. Do you guys like boats? How do you feel about boats? I like boats. I want to see a shark someday. Like, in real life. Like, I've been to the aquarium. I've seen a shark. But I want, like, to touch one. I feel like me and the sharks would get along. I wish Megalodon still exists. I would love to see a Megalodon. It would eat me so fast, and I would deserve it. I would deserve it, because how dare I show my face in front of a Megalodon? I'm sorry. My dog just huffed. I don't know if you heard that. Sir, go lie down. Go lie down. You do not have to be here right now. And then he did. Oh, he's finally listening to me. My dog's old and he does not listen to me at all anymore. I think he's losing his hearing, but I also think he's just a stubborn old man now. Anyway, back to this. Now as the boat rocked beneath your feet, there was no doubt you were truly setting sail. The little group dissipated into chatter or headed over to the railings to watch the ocean. You were ruffled by the breeze, which seemed stronger out on the water than it was back on the shore. The floor continued to rise and fall. You couldn't predict what it would do next. It was refreshing. You were curious about how the trip would go. You felt unsure but tried to ignore it. It was scary. You were hit with nausea. I'm curious about how the trip would go. As you let your surroundings truly sink in, you thought today was shaping up to be memorable. You were glad that you'd been able to join Lee on this trip. We can really get the party started now. Oh, wonderful. What did you have in mind? Well, the word hung in the air as your cousin stalled. It was clear that she didn't have something immediately in mind. Cole's eyes sparkled as he piped up. Can we go out of the boat? Like, go swimming around in the deep ocean? Sometimes you'd swear that boy was part merman, the way he was continuously drawn to the water. But Liz immediately quashed the suggestion. No. Sorry, that was Liz, not Lee. No. Her tone left no room for debate. Baxter chuckled, combing a hand through his hair. I'd prefer to stay on board, too. Sorry, it's not that kind of boat trip. It isn't supposed to stop anywhere. If someone did end up in the water, Captain would call a Coast Guard on us. Cole's shoulders slumped at the resounding rejection. That's disappointing. Suck it up, Cove. Let's not be rude. We'll still find something fun to do. No way am I getting in the water. You didn't comment. The decision was already made. I don't need to say nothing. I don't need to say a single thing. Truthfully, there isn't much we can do on the boat that we couldn't technically do back on land. I often take trips with my father on our boat. He always spends the time deep sea fishing. So you got a boat. So you got money. Okay, he's rich. Well, we already knew he had money and he was rich from, like, our life now and forever. But also, just, like, seeing him at the country club, because his parents has, like, a nationwide country club membership. So, of course, he's rich. He can afford that. I'm not much of a fisherman personally. Activities that could also be done while not on a boat sound excellent to me. Visibly bolstered by Baxter's support, Lee smiled warmly at him. Watch it, Lee. Watch it. That's my man. Huh? My dad also takes me fishing sometimes, though we do it on the docks by my dad's shop. I'm not good at it either. Baxter snickered. His expression warm as he looked at Cove. He appreciated the delicate attempt to relate, especially with how standoffish Cove normally was with him. That's the fate of sons with their dads, apparently. How lucky we won't be doing that now. Yeah. Aw, look at them bonding. Liz nodded. Liz is just here. She's a fourth wheel, in fact. Hold on. Because I'm doing math with wheels in my head. So me and Baxter are 2 wheels. Then there's Lee. 5th wheel. There's 5 of us. She's a spare wheel. That's what she is. Okay. There's nothing wrong with some non-nautical themed activities. We could play a party game for all I care. Yeah, we'll do a party game. You saw her brow furrow for just a moment as she mentally conjured possibilities, then smoothed out as one came to mind. Oh, what about the one where something is written down and people give clues and one person has to guess what it is? Charades? Sure, I said I'd play a party game and I stand by it. Who's guessing first? Me. How about rock, paper, scissors aside? We have arm wrestling contest to choose. I don't care. Me, I'm going first. Lee propped her chin on her hand, surveying the group. Princeton, Baxter, Cove, Liz, then me. Sounds good? Her suggestion was met with nods and murmurs of approval. Great! We can get the game going right away. With a devious grin, Lee picked up a pen and notepad from the bar counter. She twirled the glittery pen with her fingers. Ooh, it's glittery? Love me a good glitter pen. Ooh. Our trash can is glittery right now. This has nothing to do with anything. But, so, Halloween, I'm having my Halloween stream. I'm dressing up as my VTuber. And I sprayed, glitter. like hair glitter on my wig. And now the glitter is everywhere. And it's very funny because my boyfriend has to go to work with glitter on him at his big boy job. It's just so funny. And the trash can is glittery too. I didn't put glitter on the trash can. I don't know how the trash can got glitter on it, but it sparkles like Edward in Twilight. So there you go. Lee clarified the rules after Cove raised a wavy eyebrow. Random words would be written down and folded up to give to another player. When it's someone's turn to be a guesser, they would show everyone else the word but couldn't look at it themselves. The other players had to help the guesser figure out what the word was without saying it directly. Each person was allowed to say one clue. After all the hints were given, then the guesser would have to decide. Ah, so it's not charades. I forgot what it's called. I know what it is. It's kind of like Heads Up. If you guys have ever played Heads Up. Not the one where, like, you put your head down on a desk and you... Not Heads Up 7-Up. That's different. I don't even know why it's called Heads Up 7-Up. Like, who's naming these games? Lee gave each guest a mini party... At the mini party, a piece of paper from her notepad. It was surprisingly thick lined paper with a little starfish printed on the bottom. She scrounged around to find more writing implements. She managed to dig up a short pencil with an old jelly grip on it, a ballpoint pen with a logo you didn't recognize, and a purple crayon. Baxter had a nice pen with him already, so he respectfully passed on Lee's offer. She turned to you. Here, pick one. Girl, give me that pen. Yeah. She passed... Why did I say yeah like that? Yeah. She passed you the pen and then wandered over to Cove to offer him the next choice. You had to draw a scribble on the corner of the paper to make the pen work. The ink was a standard blue. After the random selection of words were determined and the papers were passed around, it was time to start. I guess we know who's going now. You folded the paper given to you, careful not to peek while you showed everyone. Liz leaned in closer with a thoughtful hum. As soon as Lee had a chance to read the word, she jumped up. Dog! It's a popular type of dog, sometimes called that. It's where scientists do experiments and stuff. Sometimes it's a secret location. Liz gave Cove an edged look. She probably thought it would confuse you. It can be used for photos as well. You gave up and looked at the paper. My Labrador, is that how you spell Labrador? Retriever. Okay, so it's Labrador. I need to look up how to spell. I'm sorry. I'm illiterate if you didn't know. Labrador, not a Labradoodle. Labrador. Okay, yeah. You turn the paper around and stared at it with a piercing gaze. In tiny, neat letters, you saw the word lab. Oh, I was... I'm gonna scream. I was stuck on the word dog. I was like, yes, dog. Labrador Retriever. Not... Oh. Those clues were terrible. I really should have gotten that. That's on me. I feel like the last time we played this and I did the same thing. Guys, why didn't you just stop me? It seems so obvious now. A dog breed that also doubled as somewhere a scientist could experiment? Duh. I mean, they experiment on Labradors in the vet labs, probably. Maybe. I hope not. No worries, Princeton. It was a team effort. It's not just on you. No. No. That was definitely on me. I should have just wrote lab. I was really stuck on Labrador. Let's keep things going. I'm having fun. Are you? Are you having fun? 'Cause I'm not anymore, because I'm losing. Baxter fished his paper out from his ripped pants pocket. Ooh, he's got ripped pants. Interesting. And presented it to the group. Loopy handwriting spelled out the word slide. Oh, kids like it. It's for kids. Kids? Lee bounced enthusiastically, holding out a hand to indicate the short height of children. Baxter nodded slowly. It's at playgrounds, but not really small ones usually. The playground around our neighborhood doesn't have it, if you've been there. I swore that our neighborhood did have a slide at one point. He shook his head, still perplexed. Unfortunately, I have not. Dang. You've been to the playgrounds before though, right? Baxter had to pause to think on it. He shrugged. In my elementary school, I did have recess, but we had sports fields more than traditional playgrounds. For some reason, it's hard to picture you as a little kid. But we do get to see him as a little kid if you play Our Life Now and Forever, which comes out next year. Woo, we're excited for it because we're definitely going to play it, obviously. Well, I'd rather not imagine that, so it all works out. Cove placed a finger on his cheek as he puzzled out the game's conundrum. He tapped his face absent-mindedly. It's slippery. You can't really walk on it. Slippery? Every clue lost Baxter even more. He had no idea what the word could be. You sit on it and then go down. It's tall and long, and you have to climb up to the top. You can get on it one way, but can't really get on it the other way. Baxter, do you know how to do the cha-cha? Not the cha-cha slide. It's fine if you don't get it. I'll let it. Penguins do it on their bellies. You do not offer him. Penguins do it on their bellies. Oh, slide? That's it, slide. Baxter's floundering confidence returned in full force with a broad grin. Look at us, we make a great team, Baxter. I got it. He flipped the paper over and traced his fingers across the word. He smirked at it. What if I said the cha-cha slide? That would have been so, like, for what reason would he, you know what, he would probably know that dance, because he is a ballroom dancer. He's classically trained, so he must know every single dance in the world, right? Thank you very much for your tip, Princeton. You're welcome. Liz patted you on the arm with approval. Nice one. You had the magic approach that time. Liz's voice will continuously change throughout this. I just want you to know. These voices are not consistent. Cole flipped open his paper and showed it to the crowd. He kept his hand on the back of the note so he couldn't see the word even if light shone through it. In blocky, wobbly text, you read the word potatoes. You pursed your lips together as you thought what you could say. Sack! Liz turned her head with an incredulous expression while Lee continued her thought. She jumped up, pointing right at the paper Cove had in his hand. You put them in a sack! Cove blinked at Lee, deeply confused. Lee smiled back, full of confidence that he would come to understand eventually. It's the major vegetable you use in croquettes. I don't know what that is. Really? Baxter was earnestly taken aback, as if Cove just said he'd never had toast before. I have never had a croquette before, but I want one so bad. Croquettes look so delicious. Oh, I could go for a croquette. Maybe we should change that. There has to be somewhere in this town that serves them, right? Baxter, please look up croquettes. I would love to get a croquette with you. Liz cleared her throat, saving Cove from having to respond beyond his frown. Frowned? Beyond his frown. It's that Mr. toy with different faces and things. Mr. Potato Head? That's what my dad looks like. No shade to my dad, but that was full shade, actually. That was full shade to my dad. My dad does look like Mr. Potato Head. But I love him. But what does that say about me? If my dad looks like Mr. Potato Head, do I look like Little Potato Head? No, because I don't have a mustache, so. Cove tilted his head, utterly baffled at the different directions that everyone had taken. What's a Mr. toy? Liz simply shook her head at his lack of understanding. It was your turn to try. They are brown and lumpy. There are sweet versions and regular versions. It's a very common starchy root vegetable. Cole, forget the croquettes. French fries. You shook your head in offering him. I don't want to cheat about croquettes. They're brown and lumpy. Well, some of them are brown and lumpy. You suddenly remember that there were red potatoes and purple potatoes, too. Oh well, lots of potatoes are brown. Cove had a chance. Liz put her head in her hands. You felt the reaction was more than a little unfair. Her hint had completely thrown Cove off. Cove's brain had 404, answer not found. I have no idea what any of you are talking about. Without even trying to guess, he flipped over the paper to find the answer. Oh, potatoes. His face went red, embarrassed that he hadn't gotten it. You whiffed that one, but it's fine. We can have another round. Suddenly the boat chipped forward before rocking back harshly. The ship must have gone over a larger than usual wave. Liz held onto her hat desperately. Lee laughed at her immediate death grip. You never know what'll happen on the high seas. You chuckled too. Watch out, Liz. You wouldn't want to lose such a nice topper. What? You felt a burst of nausea come over you. You started feeling really freaked out. No, I'm laughing at her. You and Lee chuckled together while Liz stuck up her nose. However, your sister was smiling and her hold had slackened. The game continued with Liz and Lee taking their turns. It was such a good time that you all decided to play a few more games. Liz turned out to be the best guesser, although that could have been because you knew her well enough to give her relevant hints. Lee had to stop herself from answering on the first clue she was given, but no one really minded. All in all, everyone was glad that Lee had suggested the game. Oh! Lee shot you a grin. Why don't we have some drinks? There's a bar on the ship. Cole tilted his head in disbelief. Lee continued blithely. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff behind the counter. I bet one could make whatever they can think of. That sounds like an interesting challenge. There's lots of different juices and stuff. I think I've seen strawberry puree and pineapple. The carrot juice sounds intriguing. So, it's a juice bar? Yeah? Liz laughed and tapped Lee on the shoulder. You just said barley. I think you gave the wrong idea. Oops. Sorry for the disappointment, Cove. No alcohol is provided by the ship. That's probably required considering the group they've got today. I'm not disappointed by that. I didn't want to get drunk on a ship. Have you gotten drunk before, Cove? I'm a little disappointed. Aren't you like a year older than us? Aren't you like 19? You shouldn't be drinking either, Baxter. Lee breezed past the misunderstanding as though it hadn't even happened. I was thinking we could mix them up and get something special. Anyone interested? Cove thought about it, intrigued. Liz smirked, recognizing the potential for chaos. Sounds like a recipe for disaster. It'll be a dream, trust me. So, who wants to make drinks? What? It was your idea. Why don't you do it? I've mixed drinks before. If anyone else wants to try, this would be a great chance. I'm a gracious hostess. You know what? I want to make drinks. Cool. You're going to create something wonderful. I just know it. Girl, I'm going to make the most atrocious drink you've ever had. It's going to be your fault. It's going to be your fault. You wondered if you ought to ask for requests, but Lee hustled you off to the non-alcoholic bar. No one else followed. Lee gave a brief tour of selection in various compartments before she went back to the tables. She shouted a final message over her shoulder. Make sure there's enough for everyone! She waved, and then you were left alone with the juice. There was a fridge packed with cartons of various glass bottles of juice, and Lee had placed a pitcher on the counter for you to mix things into. You stared at the options, trying to see what you had to work with. There were a lot of choices. You reached into the fridge to take out some juice. You grabbed... Ooh, this sounds delicious. Let's add some grapes to it. Cranberry. And then that's all. We need to make it a little pucker. A little pucker. I love cranberry juice. Love me a cranberry vodka that I can't have anymore. Because I'm not allowed to drink. Sometimes I just want a nice margarita. But I can't have a margarita. The Lord said no. With your juice done, you set out some glasses and poured out some for everyone. Hey everyone, come and get your juice! The group got up from the lounge chairs that they had been sitting on and came to fetch their drinks. Everyone picked up a glass and took a sip. Ooh! Lee brightened at the combination of flavors in your concoction. Oh, she said it for me. Thanks. It's not bad. Yeah. He nodded as he took another slow sip. It's refreshing. The little juice experience was a good time as far as you were concerned. Contentedly, you all stood close together, some still holding their juice cups. Lee's eyes scanned the group and she giggled. This is so much nicer than having to rely on regular phone calls to catch up, right? Before anyone could respond, Lee's eyes widened. The corner of your mouth pulled into an amused smile. Not that I don't enjoy chats from afar, it's just more fun to actually be here together. We understand, and yes, it's a fantastic little party. Happy graduation, Lee, Princeton, and Cove. That was followed by more cheers and celebration of your high school careers coming to an end. Lee even lifted her glass to toast to it. When it was settled down, your older sister had one more comment to add. And no one even had to fight over who gets to use the home phone. Lee threw her head back in thunderous laughter. The smile widened on your face. I remember that all the times Elizabeth here was trying to push me into being less Gabby. She needed me to just stop so she could call her other friends instead. Hey, many teens have a too cool for family phase. Liz's eyes wavered. She crossed her arms, but then her eyes slid over to you. But I do recall Princeton being equally as difficult about keeping hold of that phone. Hey, if I didn't stand my ground, I probably never would have even seen that phone. And besides, I'm a younger kid. I had to have learned it somewhere. Liz shook her head and chuckled. Fair enough. Yeah, luckily it's all A-okay. I forgive Liv for being a teenager. They got a hearty laugh out of Liz. You caught a quick snicker out of Cove, too. Though, all that aside, we shouldn't leave Baxter out of the loop either. Everyone followed her lead and turned towards the guest for this summer. His expression softened as he shrugged one shoulder. While it's true, I wasn't here for the stories. I do enjoy hearing about them. It's nice to only listen sometimes. Cool, really mature. Thank you. His gaze traveled from Lee to Liz and then over to you. He sighed. My cousins aren't nearly as close in age as you are, and as an only child, I'm curious what that kind of relationship is like. Oh, I'm with you there. Only child solidarity. Lee nodded firmly to Baxter and then shot Cove a serious look. He crossed his arms. Alright. Only child solidarity. A genuine smile lit up Baxter's face. Lee clapped her hands together, pleased at the united front created. Sharing the same wavelength, you and Liz turned your fists to give one another a look. Not breaking eye contact, she reached over and put a hand on top of your head. On top of my head? Girl, don't touch my hair. Hair is finely poofed, firmly salted. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. Sprayed. There we go. Put the hairspray in. My hair is sticking straight up like a Dragon Ball Z character. That's wonderful for you three. I'll keep Princeton, thanks. Your siblings' stare shattered into laughter. The others joined in as well. The hours were spent chatting away, sharing stories and favorite memories as the boat drifted out to sea. As time slipped by, the sun hanging low in the sky signaled that it was time to set sail back to the harbor. The more boisterous atmosphere from earlier had settled into a blanket of comfortable relaxation. Liz and Lee were absorbed in conversation, lounging around on the deck couch. Baxter sat across from them, nodding along, and every now and then you could hear laughter coming from the three of them. There were always smiles. There were always smiles. Taking a deep breath of the sea air, you sighed contentedly. Cove stood by your side in the center of the deck. When you were ready, you looked back to the deck and the faces of everyone you spent the afternoon with. You never wanted to forget that view. Then, looking out the wide open ocean, you committed every bit of the moment to memory. You quietly thought to yourself, today had certainly been an adventure. Alright, and then we finished boating. Let's start what time is it? Okay, we've got time. We have got time. Let's do sightseeing, the first Baxter DLC. You were perched on the couch in your living room doing nothing in particular. It was the quintessential summer afternoon. The weather was warm and the mood was lazy. So far, it had shaped up to be a pleasant day, if somewhat uneventful. No plans and no obligations beyond a few casual chores. Let's say casual or usual. Let's say usual. Where did I get casual from? Liz had already flitted off, enjoying herself. She'd left in the morning carrying a mysteriously heavy bag. You hadn't bothered asking her what she was doing or why it needed a sack that clattered when it moved. She probably wouldn't be home till late. Your moms both had the day off, and like you, had been using their freedom to do nothing of import. Of import? Did they mean to say that? I've never seen the import used as, like, importance. The group of you finished cleaning up your shared lunch, and Mom struck up a conversation. Well, what's next? Your mind was blank. You let the question hang, assuming Ma would be the one to reply, and glanced down at your phone out of habit. And right then the screen lit up, presenting you with the potential idea. A text notification had come in. Baxter's name displayed itself. He sent more messages after the first. You unlocked your phone to see it all. Is this him? Hello and good afternoon. I'm intending to go sightseeing and would love it if you could join me. You are quite welcome to invite anyone else along as well. Girl, no. It's just gonna be us. Your phone buzzed one more time with an additional note. Sincerely, your friend, Baxter. He did not have to sign his name, but I guess he did since there's no caller ID on there. He snorted at the screen. His texting style read more like a formal letter written with a quill pen than a text. Did your friends text you? Ma smiled at you with a raised eyebrow. Gluing your face to a phone for so long must have been a big tip-off. Excuse me. Baxter's inviting me to go sightseeing. Wow, perfect timing. Yeah, that's nice. Baxter Ward seems like a lovely young man. He's a step up or two from the Donalds, that's for sure. Neither Mom nor Ma had spent a lot of time around Baxter as far as you were aware. They'd met early in the summer, something unavoidable in the street, and had a few encounters since. I wonder where he's from. Ma didn't look to you for an answer or her wife. She couldn't add to that topic and assumed no one else in the room knew either. It was a wonderment for the universe alone. Mom still pressed her lips together and thought. No clue. But what I'm curious about is, what is he studying in college? He's on a break from school, isn't he? Yes, he did mention he was on an off semester, but not more than that. Once the curiosity train left the station, there was no stopping it. The two traded questions back and forth, whispering with growing steam. With growing steam. There was someone on their street who was a stranger, a situation that hadn't occurred in a decade. What do you think his family is like? He's here all by himself. Again, none of you could enlighten the others. You had scarcely spent more time with Baxter than your parents, and you realized he hadn't been forthcoming with basic details. You found his mystery intriguing. It felt kind of weird to know so little. You wanted to change that. You didn't think it was a big deal. I want to change that. We're nosy. There was only one thing to do about Baxter's mystery: confront it directly. If he wouldn't lay it out on his own, you'd have to draw answers from him. You refocused on your phone and the formal message that had yet to get a reply. You answered the question casually. You called out his hilarious message. You answered him in a similar fashion. Call out his hilarious message. What was that? Saying sincerely in a text and everything else in it? It didn't take long at all for Baxter to come to his silliness. Ray, hi! Welcome in! Did you take a nap, or is today a work day for you? Dear Princeton, an invitation is an invitation regardless of the mode of communication. He should have ended that smug FYI with a winky face, but he was too proper even for that. Hydrate? Okay. Here we go. Hydrate. Hydrate complete. I feel like I don't sound hydrated even though I did just drink some water. Should I take it that you're busy? No, I'll go over now. That is wonderful. I will see you soon. Best regards. Please drink all water. What do you mean drink all water? You want me to finish the water? I've been drinking water. There, I had some more of the water for you. All the water in the ocean? You're trying to kill me? You told me to drown? How dare you? Oh, I can't believe this. And now you know why I spin kicked you in the group chat. Best regards. You smile and turn to your mom. Your mums? What are we, British? They had moved on to the wondering about if Baxter had a part-time job. Probably not. Both of them were concluding. See you two later. I'm going to see Baxter now. Have fun, kiddo. Yes, do that. Mom's grin was as sweet as honey being used in a trap. You could see the ulterior motive from a mile away. And if you happen to find out anything about our new neighbor, maybe think of telling your poor moms when you get back. Lonnie. Despite everything, Mom appeared amused at her wife's blatant attempt at info digging. You can't drown because the water will freeze before then. The ocean water will freeze? Because you're so cool. You know what? Nice save. Nice save. I'll allow it. Despite everything, Mom appeared amused at her wife's blatant attempt at info digging. Well, I'd be interested to hear it too, if Baxter doesn't mind his mystification being cleared up. You two are so nosy, you laughed. You are way too nosy, you scolded. Why don't you just invite him over and interrogate him yourselves? That's a great question. Why do you think Baxter would tell me anything? You let out a long-suffering groan over their behavior. You smile at your hilarious parents. Why don't you invite him over and interrogate him yourselves? Ma looked mock aghast at the very idea. We can't do that. He's a young man trying to enjoy his vacation. He should be out and about, not spending his limited time entertaining old moms in our kitchen. Ma slumped her shoulders while expressing her limitations in this snooping matter. Your little rays! Look at you go! Not the shaky. But look at you go, they're so cute actually. As if they wouldn't be cute. I didn't mean that actually. That actually sounded offensive. Though she immediately perked back up. It's different if he's making a friend his own age. If you don't want to ask or it doesn't come up, of course that's fine. I'm only saying if you do or it does, that I'd be curious to hear about it. Alright, let's see how it goes. I accept the mission, I won't let you down. Hey, Baxter has interesting taste. Maybe he's into moms. Don't say that. That's weird. I'll never squeal. I'll take these secrets to my grave. You not understandingly, you shrug non-committedly. Alright, I'll see how it goes. That's all we're asking. Thank you, sweetie. I won't keep you any longer. Go have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye. You forgot how to Twitch because it's been so long since you watched anyone. You know what? Very fair. I'm not a person who watches streamers all the time either. So I'm always like, what am I doing? How am I doing this? What is anyone doing? You gathered up your phone, wallet, a water bottle, and a few other odds and ends you imagine might come in handy during an unspecified outing. You left the condo, your formerly normal but boring day rocketing off into an unknown direction. Baxter tended to have that kind of effect on things. Once outside, you crossed the street diagonally to reach Baxter's place. You found the doorbell and pressed it down. His doorbell was so much more reasonably placed. A second later, the man you wanted to see opened the door with a grin. Not the man I wanted to see. From his quick response, you knew he'd been standing by. You'd announced you'd be there, and he was ready for it. Oh, romantic. Hello, Princeton. Thank you for coming. Hi, nice seeing you. At Baxter's obvious pleasure at your attention, you smiled in return. He stepped out of his condo and closed the door behind him to stand by you. He's in love. He's in love. I appreciate you agreeing so last minute. However, if you do have prior arrangements, this can be done another day. Sightseeing is my usual itinerary after all. I don't have any plans, really. There was nothing to do. Ah, in that case, I'm glad today was the afternoon I asked. I've stopped in at least one scenic spot, tried a new restaurant, or browsed an unfamiliar shop nearly every day since I've been here so far. I've always had to go on my own, so this will be a special trip. Oh? Really? I'm impressed with how proactive you've been. Thank you. I'd only had a few short visits to California in my life. Even then, I was underage and supervised by parents or guardians. He raised an eyebrow and his voice took on a delighted tone. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I need to take my inhaler. I was having difficulty breathing. We saw each other on one of those rare occasions when where I was in state. Dance instructors were controlling the schedule that time. Oh, were they? This summer is my first chance to truly experience what the area has for myself. It's also not going to last forever, so I'd rather not waste my opportunities. I also need to go on BRB. There is something important that's happening. I will be right back in the quickest of quicknesses. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, there's some stuff happening. Let me get back here. Yeah, I'm fine now. I just had to take my inhaler real quick. This summer is my first chance to truly experience what the area has for myself. It's also not going to last forever, so I'd rather not waste my opportunities. His bold proclamation reminded you of how fleeting his presence really was in everyone's life. Welcome back, thank you. Exactly as he'd suddenly appeared, it wouldn't be too much longer until he vanished back to wherever he'd come from. He was impossible to pin down. I have to warn you, my mom's might grill you on your life one of these days. So, completely unrelated, but do personal questions bother you? Wow, you're so elusive. And I'm not wasting my chance to spend the day with you. And I'm not wasting my chance. Oh, that's so cute. I actually like that. Are you trying to be mysterious? You didn't comment. And I'm not wasting my chance to spend the day with you. How gratifying. I was thinking the same thing. Ah! He feels the same. Hope everything's okay. Yeah, everything should be fine. I'm hoping. Crossing my fingers. He locked his door smoothly and tucked the key into his pocket. You are doing me quite the favor by accompanying me. His shoulders loosened and he directed his soft glance towards you. And if you wouldn't mind, this feels like a good chance for the two of us to get to know each other better. Please query me at your leisure if there's anything you'd ever want to ask. I'm an open book in your hands. Oh, in my hands. Okay. It could have stopped there, and you would have expected it to end on a formal bow, but the exceedingly official-sounding offer was flipped into something coy and full of possibility. There are many things I would like to know about you. Oh? Oh? I want to know you better as well. You can ask me whatever you want to. You simply nodded. Your ma would have been thrilled to hear that. Not ma. I want to know you better as well. He was a figure of curiosity for you, a friendly stranger who was quickly becoming closer and closer. Why do you say excellent like that? Excellent. Then we're in agreement. Instead of asking him personal information, you needed to use your questions, asking authority for something else first. Where were you thinking of going sightseeing? Baxter placed a hand on his chin, considering. Ideally, the first stop would be your choice. Since you're so considerately joining me today, I may as well take advantage of your local expertise. After that, I can take you to a place that possibly even you hadn't been to yet. I have a rental car, so it's no worry if you want to go somewhere that's too far to walk to. My choice will certainly require driving. I'm positive you stepped on every inch of this town. Does that sound agreeable? Letting you pick the first place and following up with somewhere you hadn't been to before, despite living here for almost your whole life? What did he think you'd missed? Maybe it was the overconfidence of a tourist, or maybe it was something trickier, but he caught you off guard again. With Baxter's promise to tell you whatever you wanted to know, you hadn't prepared for him to still be so hard to read. Ah! Oh, what'd you get? A bike! Oh no! You should have known he wouldn't suddenly get what? You should have known he wouldn't suddenly get actually straightforward, no matter how direct he claimed he would act. What kind of sentence? Works for me. With what you understood about Baxter, his part of the day would be fun for both of you, and he shouldn't have to plan everything. He was a friend, not your tour guide. Not you fishing again. I'm joking, you can fish as much as you want. Okay. With what you understood about Baxter, his part of the day would be fun for both of you, and he shouldn't have to plan everything. He was a friend, not your tour guide. Baxter flashed his shiny white teeth. Do you have anywhere in mind, then? You pondered the request. If there was one place someone like Baxter should go see, what would it be? Inspiration struck. There was no place more iconic around. How about Shopping Street? The Shopping Street? I don't know what you mean. Given it was minutes away on foot, you worried you might have offered old news, but it didn't come up on the map as anything other than a few of the permanent shops. You had to be there to know. Oh, you caught gummy sharks! Yummy! I went to the zoo the other day and they had gummy sharks, but Gil wouldn't buy me gummy sharks because he bought me a polar bear. He was like, that's all you're getting. I really wanted some gummy sharks. For my polar bear. Me and my polar bear could eat them together, but no. There's an ad that's going to play right now. I'm going to go on a quick break to sort something out. Thank you for standing by. I really appreciate it. Okay, thank you for waiting from the ad, and thank you for waiting for me. I really appreciate it. I had to get something sorted out, and it's been sorted out. Back to the game. It's a row of local shops and stalls by the beach. It's right near our neighborhood. Really? His hanging attention encouraged you to continue. It's meant to be fun for visitors, not at all the typical grocery stores or clothing shops or things like that. Everyone should go there at least once while they're here. Welcome back. Thank you. Baxter made a grand gesture of waving you on to lead out. That sounds absolutely perfect. Please show me the way. You obliged, and the two of you strolled down the inclined street. Neither of you were particularly rushing, and it still took less than 15 minutes to walk down to the spot. You skipped over the cement curb onto the worn gray bricked road and were there. Tantalizing smells and a mix of attention-grabbing music drifted from the open doors and outdoor stalls. The different songs blended into one new tune, a celebration for your senses. As normal for tourist season, the path bustled with a crowd of excited visitors. Aesthetically, Baxter stood out from the vast majority of the colorful tourists, but his enthusiasm matched their faces of awe. This is wonderful. Confident you had suggested the correct choice, you let out a happy sigh. You continued wandering, but now you let Baxter direct the way. You merely followed along as he explored. He flitted to and from stalls like a monochrome butterfly in a flower garden. Terry had been more correct than she should have known when she could have known when she made that comparison at the beginning of summer. While you had memories attached to each corner of the street, watching his first experience there was almost like seeing it with fresh eyes yourself. This had been a traditional way to spend an afternoon for most of your life. Not the best, but it was worth doing. It was better than you remembered now. You scrutinized the available stalls out today and realized Baxter would have a huge gaping hole in the experience. Oh, that's the choice of words to use. There was no magician performing tricks anywhere. Oh, you know what? You're right. The magician's not here. That bit of shopping street wonder would go unknown to Baxter, even though he came all the way there. By chance, Baxter led you into the area where shows happened in the past. Cards and coins that appeared out of nowhere and free balloons were inseparable from this place to you. Watching Baxter out of the corner of your eyes, it struck you that you had never gotten close to a tourist before. Everyone you knew well also was familiar with Sunset Bird, or at least something in the area. But he was another one of the temporary passers-by. Hey, sometimes people do performances here. If only we came on a different day, we could have gotten dolphin balloons. It was too bad he might actually never get a chance to see. We could always come back. Dolphin balloons? He repeated the words curiously, trying to put the concept together in his mind. Yeah, in the past there was a magician called the Amazing Alexander who did tricks here. He'd reward participants with those balloons as a thank you. Sometimes they were shaped as animals like the dolphin balloons. It made them extra special. Baxter listened closely as you continued, hanging on to your every word. Extra amazing, you could say. Regular balloons wouldn't be amazing enough for the amazing Alexander. You must have had good business because those probably cost way more than normal balloons. Baxter stared back, starry-eyed at your tale of the performer. You weren't expecting him to be so dazzled by the mention of a random street magician, but he was. I named my balloon Merriweather. Tragically, when Cove got a balloon, he accidentally crushed it. We don't care about Cove. Alexander wore a top hat and a funny coat. He pulled a coin out of my ear. Like a little kid. Impressive. I suppose that's one way of increasing capital. I didn't know you could mint money from an ear. He got jokes, okay. He got jokes. You shook your head at that, laughing. It was a good trick. I'm sure it was. Even if it produced a counterfeited quarter, I hope you didn't try to spend it. Even without seeing the shows for himself, Baxter was having a good time. That was nice. Coming here was more than just showing a small part of the world you lived in. You had shown him parts of yourself. Now felt appropriate to use your privilege of asking him a question about himself. Hey, where are you from? I was wondering, what's your family like? What are you studying in college? So, what's up with the black and white thing? You're single, right? You stay quiet for a bit. You're single, right? Cutting straight to the juicy parts. I must say I admire the direct approach. Not us hitting on him, and him being so chill about it. His laid-back demeanor sharpened around the edges. His eyes were smiling at you, even if his mouth wasn't. He enjoyed the implications of this question a great deal. If you were asking if he was single, it was probably because you cared about what the answer might be. His rich brown eyes found yours. I'm unattached. That shouldn't be news to you, though. Well, why isn't it news to me? That was news to me. That was true enough. Ever since his first introduction to Cove and you when he arrived in Sunset Bird, Baxter had been open about the fact that he was absolutely extremely available. And how about you? Is there no special someone in your life at the moment? I'm single as well, but I won't be for long. Oh, I see. Have you ever dated before? Sorry if it's a burden to talk about. So, who's your first crush? Thanks for telling me you didn't see any more details on that. Have you ever dated before? He answered you without missing a beat. I have. Nothing long term, you understand. I haven't suffered any tremendous heartache as of yet. Being single comes naturally to me. And besides, I don't think I'm even old enough for anything to have truly qualified as long term. Thanks for the lurk! But I've certainly had some experience, let's put it that way. But you are listening? Good, continue to listen. Continue to listen to my sultry voice. I'm joking. Not that coughing fit happening from laughing at my terrible, terrible joke. He tittered innocently at his apparent double entendre. I'm glad love hasn't been too hard on you. I'm in a similar situation, I guess. I don't really know what it's like. I've never dated personally. I'm in a similar situation, I guess. You do have a nice voice. Oh, thanks for saying that. I appreciate it. You've dated before as well, then? You nodded. You've been with someone before, too, but it had come to an end eventually. You were okay with that. It can be difficult to find meaningful connections. So much of the world seems to revolve around romance, and yet it hardly lasts as long as we'd like it to. But these things can't be forced. Having said his piece, his expression dimmed and his eyes wandered lazily away. Sorry if it's embarrassing to talk about, so, who's your first crush? Who's your first crush? You knew that this question was coming out of the blue, but you were curious, and since you were on the topic of romance anyway, if not now, then when? He scratched his cheek thoughtfully, trying to recall a memory. A very interesting question. It can be hard to put an exact date and time to emotions. I'd say that I was a bit of a late bloomer. I didn't develop a soft spot for anyone until I was around 12. Some people I knew had their first crushes years before that. But there was another kid who would attend the same dance hall that I did. Though we practiced totally different disciplines. I was naturally there for ballroom. They were a ballet dancer. No, not a ballet dancer, not Twinkle Toes. I can't compete with Twinkle Toes. But that's something of the past. In truth, when it comes to attraction, I find discussion on flames that are still alight to be more worthwhile. Oh? Oh, is he trying to hit on me? And that was the end of his story, as sparse as it was. Anyway, that's enough about me. Your turn, Princeton. Oh, my turn? I know we spoke about dating before, but who did you first feel a connection with? Was there anyone? It was someone I know from around here. Honestly, it was a celebrity. It was someone from school. You wouldn't know who I mean. Yeah, they lived in Canada. Truthfully, it was him. Oh, I've never been that interested in anyone, but I kind of like you. You. I'd say you're my first crush, actually. It's you? You were far too nervous to tell him that, though. You felt it was better not to admit that, though. It might be too much. I have never been interested in anyone, but I kind of like you. We gotta go in smooth. Baxter's mouth hung open, his expression blank. For once in his life, Baxter Ward was at a loss for words. He found them again soon enough. I'm sorry. I'm most certain I must have misheard that. You mean to say that your first crush was me? It was when you first arrived at Sunset Bird. It was at the summer soiree. Do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember? You cast your mind back to the sight of Baxter in his gray suit all that time ago. He'd been so unique, so polite, so charming. Many times since that day, you found yourself looking back and wishing you could have spent more time together. You resigned yourself to the idea that he'd forever remain a memory. And then, just like that, he shone up out of the blue in Sunset Bird. It was almost too incredible to think about, yet there he was, right in front of you. Like you'd been given a second chance. You heard me, right? How could I forget that first encounter? I was just starting to make my way in the big kid world, and you were so new in that suit. I guess you swept me off my feet before I even knew where I was. You finished speaking, your feelings finally out in the open. His mouth was also open. Are we gonna kiss? He's blushing. There was a slow pause, and then Baxter seemed to regain control of his facilities. His faculties, not his facilities. He shut his mouth. Unusually, for the briefest of moments, his lips came together in a frown. Oh no! No, don't frown! I'm sorry! It was such an alien expression on his face that you couldn't help but be concerned. Baxter smiled as often as naturally as he breathed. You'd almost forgot he was even capable of looking serious. And then in an instant, it was gone. His expression lightened and then seemed to catch fire, fierce and full of life. You know, that's incredible. It really is. He murmured an aside to himself under his breath. In for a penny. Then he addressed you directly, his eyes still bright. As it happens, the first person to turn my head after the first... What? As it happens, the first person to turn my head after the first was somebody I had met only once. It caught me completely off guard, to tell you the truth. It was years ago, at a little country club you might have heard of. I didn't know anything about this person, and yet such a strong impression was left on me that I had never forgotten it since. I wonder who that could have been. It was Twinkletoes, wasn't it? It was Twinkletoes. I know it. I know it. His manner was light, teasing, full of all sorts of implications that made your head spin. So he'd felt it too, all that time ago. You hadn't been the only one swept away in the magic of it all. And maybe you weren't the only one lying awake that night, thoughts full of a stranger's smile. This is so cute. No. This is so cute. You couldn't quite believe it. The thought of it had you giddy. You beamed at Baxter, your cheeks flushed and full of warmth. He smiled in return. He didn't say anything more than that, but you had already got everything you could have possibly wanted. You felt as if you were walking on air for the whole rest of the day. Sorry if it's embarrassing to talk about. After pressing him about the topic for a while, it had occurred to you that perhaps you'd been digging too deep. Thankfully, Baxter didn't seem to mind at all. If anything, he seemed to welcome it. Baxter gave you an amiable smile, completely unfazed. The idea that there might be anything embarrassing about the topic of romance only served to amuse him further. No need to apologize. There's very little you could do. You could say that would fluster me. That's not me trying to brag, merely an observation. But I did fluster you, so... What now? That squared pretty well with what you knew about him. It wasn't surprising that someone as outgoing and uninhibited as Baxter would be relatively difficult to knock off balance. It does you credit to be worried on my behalf. The wolfish expression made another appearance. But I'd say I'm enjoying myself. That was a relief to hear. You wouldn't have wanted to overstep. Thank you for telling me. Don't mention it. You are most welcome, Princeton. It was a fulfilling discussion all told. I feel like we know each other a lot better now, wouldn't you say? His eyes said more than his words did, and both were saying an awful lot. You met his gaze steadily, in spite of the heat in your stomach. Oh, are we sick? Do we need to poop? And then you were struck by the most obvious idea in the world. You were on a shopping street, window shopping with a tourist. Baxter needed to get a souvenir for his days in Sunset Bird. No, you would buy him a souvenir. Baxter, you should pick something out. This is the best place to get a souvenir. I'm buying him a souvenir. You perused the displays with purpose rather than passively observing them. What would be a fitting memento of your town, and what would Baxter Ward actually like? You considered those criteria carefully and decided to get him a postcard, shot glass mug, t-shirt, shell picture frame, mini carved driftwood statue, locally made necklace. I'm between the puka shells and the shell picture frame. A shot glass, maybe a shot glass, because I feel like he's underage drinking. I feel like that's exactly what he does. I'm gonna get the shell picture frame. The shells were real and very familiar to you. When you read the sign that proclaimed that they all came from the beach you were across from, he smiled. Baxter could quite literally take a piece of this place with him. It was satisfying finding something that worked so well. He went to purchase it discreetly. When he returned to Baxter's side, his excitable expression curved into something more typical for him. What did you find? It's a gift for you. He offered him the plastic pouch containing the recently bought picture frame. He graciously accepted it. Oh. Not him saying thank you in my ear like that. You're welcome. Thank you, Princeton. You're too kind. Before he opened it to examine what it was, he paused. I'm going to wait. Huh? I don't want to experience anything good right now. Then there'll be nothing left. I can have this joy later. That's... Why is he really is so charming. Not me getting charmed by this two-dimensional man. Though, don't worry. I'll be sure to open this while you're watching. Perhaps at the end of this outing. Oh, alright. It's your gift. Open it whenever you like. Thank you once again. He walked away from the shop side by side with the successful purchase swinging between you. When Baxter was gone, he'd only had to look at the picture frame to recall his days there. And you. Your gaze wandered back to the man beside you who you still hardly knew. The one you had so little time to know. Hey, where are you from? I was wondering what's your family like. Were you studying in college? What's up with the black and white thing? You stayed quiet for a bit. Where are you from? Baxter put his hands casually in his pockets, his gaze wandering over the crowds and the ocean and off into the distance. Well, in the most immediate sense, I suppose you could say I came here from Virginia. That's where my college is located, after all. And why are you here? Out of all places to be. Why are you here? But of course, I know that is not entirely what you meant. I'm merely teasing. Like, Virginia has beaches. Well, I might study in Virginia. I'm actually from the proverbial Oregon Trail, born and bred. That's the state where my home is, if you can believe it. Oh, Oregon. That's not far away at all. Virginia, though, not so much. Virginia is literally on the other side of the country. You grew up pretty close by then? How do you like it back in Virginia? Is it hard living away from where you grew up? Do you miss it? What's your hometown like? How do you like it back in Virginia? I'd say I enjoy being there for the most part. As you can probably imagine, it's quite different from here back home in Oregon, especially the humidity. Everything seems smaller there too. In California, it's like the sky goes on forever, and the mountains and the horizon are impossibly far away. Oregon as well. There's a scale there to the scenery that just doesn't compare. Whereas in Virginia, the hills are just that. Hills rather than mountains. Quaint little things, really, and they sort of gently enfold everything. I mean, I wouldn't say that. You know what? Maybe I would, because I did drive through Virginia before. It was nice. It was nice. Like, if you just drive through it, it's really nice. But if you stay there, I can't say it's that nice. His gaze grew distant again as his mind conjured up memories of the landscape, like he was getting lost among all the quaint little hills. Like, Virginia is such a pretty state. Well, the people in Virginia do not make it a pretty state. Another good thing about it is the trees. Virginia has plenty of forest cover, like Oregon, so at least in that sense, I'm among the familiar. That tracks. I think I read somewhere that something like 2/3 of Virginia consists of forests, right? 2/3? I can readily believe it. You're well informed, Princeton. But where did I get that from? His voice took on a hushed, affectionate quality. I must confess, I have a soft spot for trees. For trees? There are these beautiful eastern white pines planted all over the college dorms, magnificent all year round. When summer comes to a close, the needles get everywhere. They fall so thick in places that the ground around is covered in what looks like one big tan shag carpet. Oh, that doesn't sound pleasant at all. If you were to walk underneath any of the branches, you'd be picking needles out of your hair until Christmas. You smiled at the mental image. He's so cute, though. Doesn't that make it kind of hard to maintain your whole black and white aesthetic? It's true, the natural tones do tend to clash. I have brown eyes, at least, which means I can make it work if it comes down to it. but you'd rather not have to, right? A bemused grin. It's remarkable. You know me so well already. Something about the way he said that made your stomach go a little funny. We got butterflies? Or we have to poop. Either one. Maybe both. Baxter exhaled slowly, almost dreamily. Ah, that's another good thing Virginia and Oregon have in common. With all the trees around and the variable climate, you truly get the experience of the seasons changing. Summer to fall is especially beautiful, colors like you would not believe. He was about to get lost in thought again, but then caught himself. So, to finally answer your question, yes, I say that I like in Virginia a fair amount. The humidity is still a bit of sticking point. He narrowed his eyes a fraction as the pun rolled off his tongue without his fully intending it. But at the very least, there's only an issue during the summer months, and happily for me, I've spent my summer elsewhere this year. You smiled a private smile to yourself. Yes, happily for Baxter indeed. You grew up pretty close by then. We're practically neighbors. Well, that's true, isn't it? Well, I might not be as a close neighbor as your friend Cove. When it comes to states, I grew up right next door. Lucky for me, then. The thought of this seemed to please him greatly. You got the impression that Baxter had a soft spot for these kinds of coincidences. You found this fact about him rather charming. Speaking of which, it's actually a little funny. The land my family home was built on, I suppose you could call it somewhat remote. It's a fair-sized estate, situated a little ways away from the rest of the town. So until I moved into college dorms, I'd go as far as to say that I'd never had neighbors before. His demeanor became more thoughtful at this. As for you, the admission came as something of a surprise. In the meantime, you'd known Baxter, which was admittedly not very long. This was the closest time he'd come to being melancholy. And even then, it was the faintest of glimpses. You blinked and it was gone, a slate wiped clean. Another thought caught his fancy, and soon the characteristic grin was back on his face. In any case, now we are neighbors in the truest sense of the word, at least until my time with Sunset Bird reaches its end. It was a nice thought, in spite of the certain knowledge that it would all soon be over. The two of you shared a look which could be described as neighborly. Is it hard living away from where you grew up? Do you miss it? Baxter nodded, not in agreement, but as if he'd been anticipating your question. He answered almost before you finished speaking. He said no, you heard him. It was said so instantaneously, and with such a genuine smile that you were rather taken aback. You weren't expecting such a candid answer as that. It's like he didn't even have to think about it. Seeing your momentary look of surprise, Baxter's expression softened to something more demure. Maybe he'd had this reaction before, maybe many times. It's not as bad as it sounds. At a minimum, I can honestly say that I wish that I missed it, if that makes sense. You guess you can understand that. I don't know how you feel about your hometown particularly, but you should at least be able to appreciate that I spent all of my youth there. I'm not so jaded as to totally discount the place, far from it. But anything I liked about my home wasn't exactly exclusive to the locale. The U.S. is a big country, and there are plenty of beautiful things to see wherever you go. I've experienced enough to know that much, at least. His voice took on a tone of polite finality, not harsh, simply matter of fact. So no, I don't miss it, and I won't be going back. If my parents wish to see me, they'll have to be the ones visiting where I am. He snorted gently to himself. The idea amused him greatly. He got the feeling that he was enjoying a private joke at his family's expense. That could be one of the things you'd ask about later if he was willing to divulge. In any case, you could definitely relate to wanting to get away from it all and spread your wings somewhere new. Perhaps you were kindred spirits in that regard. What's your hometown like? I don't know if I got around to asking where in Oregon you're from specifically. Right. I suppose I hadn't named the place yet. It's a little town called Golden Grove. You likely wouldn't have heard of it. Sure enough, you couldn't say you knew anything about the place. The name kind of rang a bell, though. With a name like that, sounds like you must have a lot of forest over there. Baxter smiled with all his teeth. Of course, there's only one thing that springs to mind, isn't there? It's built on the slope of a mountain, surrounded by all sides by woodland. In the fall, the whole area shines with a golden and orange pentilla of leaves. You almost forget any other colors exist. No wonder they call it something so literal. It does make the place sound grander than it is, though. In truth, it's a small town, though not quite as tiny as Sunset Bird. You can easily show the length of this area. In Golden Grove, you'd at least want a bike or somewhere to make the trip, though some locals do take the walk. It's a quiet, sleepy corner of Oregon where hardly anyone comes or goes. You either move to the area to settle down, or you live there all your life to begin with. My ancestors fell into the former category, myself, the latter. You've left now, though? I have indeed. I guess I bucked the trend in more ways than one. That certainly made sense. Ever since you'd first met Baxter, he seemed like the kind of guy to always be making waves of some kind or another. Something about the way he said that made you think he meant something else by it, though. I am going to save because it is about that time to move on. We are going to be rating out, of course, because this is the raid train. Of course. I just want to thank you guys so much, though, before we raid, for joining me. Thank you again for the raid, DB Rivera. Thank you again for everyone who stayed and watched the stream. I really appreciate it. We're gonna be We're gonna be rating Jazz Adele Games. Wrong button me. Where are you? Yes, here we go. They're doing a cozy hangout. That's what they're doing right now. What are they playing? It just says special events. That's okay. It looks interesting though. So let's get the raid ready. I'm gonna put the raid message in the chat. Raid. Oh, if I could spell raid train. If you could copy and paste this raid message into their chat, that would be lovely as we get ready to go. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you. I hope to see you guys soon. I will be streaming again on Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to join, we're playing Too Hot to Handle. But other than that, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, week, month, year, and life. And I hope to see you in the next stream. Bye.